So here's a little tour of our garden so far. It's July 21st, 2013. And here's our terrace garden. Start at one end, and this is really the sunny end. So I stuck a number of tomato plants, and they really like it here. You can kind of see they're pretty tall. And I put a couple of squash plants here with the idea that they don't really take up much space inside the terrace, but they grow and then they grow out from here. So I got a lot of space for them to, I'm training the vines to come out here, but they get the benefit of this beautiful soil that's inside here. So there's actually one plant back there. Here's another one. There's one right there, here, and here, and they all are pretty tall. They're like, 2 to 3 feet tall, and they're doing really well. There's not any ripe tomatoes yet, but they're growing a lot of tomatoes. There's actually a volunteer tomato plant in here in the middle from last year, and we'll see how that goes. This is a hot pepper right here, kind of like a habanero or something like that. And then after that, this is just all potatoes. And a lot of them are blue potatoes, but there's some other kinds in here. And you can see there's lots of blossoms. These are, I don't know, they're just really lush. I haven't harvested any yet, except for just a few, just I could see on the top. But it's, they're really big, tall, healthy plants above ground at least. Moving over here, there's a row of peas. They're getting kind of, I don't know, crowded out a little bit by the potatoes. And then this is garlic in here. There's two kinds of garlic. Mostly is just the small garlic like you get from the grocery store. In fact, that's where I got it from. Broke up the little bulbs and planted a bunch of them. And these are, right here, there's 4 elephant garlics right here in the front, and they're really big underneath. These are climbing beans, and they're just starting to vine and grow and climb up. So they're not really growing up there yet. This is some kind of squash. I don't know. Remains to be seen. It's pretty. Here's a bunch of beets, and then a bunch of lettuce. Various kinds of lettuce. This is mustard greens, other kinds of mustard greens, turnip greens, Swiss chard, lots of different stuff. I like these. These are really spicy. This is more potatoes, and pretty healthy. A lot of blue ones. These ones where the leaves are just relatively uneaten and they're really tall. These are the blue Viking potatoes, and the potatoes themselves are blue on the outside and the inside, and we really like them. Here's some other kind of potato, and you can see like the insects really ate them up, and they just, I don't know, they're not quite as healthy. They produce potatoes for sure, but they don't seem to be quite as resilient. But we wanted to have a variety, so we had multiple kinds in here. There's probably at least 3 or 4 types of potatoes in here, but these ones with the blue flowers like this, those are those blue Vikings. So then we got some beans, and they're kind of not having the best year, but they're coming along. They haven't produced much yet, but they've got a lot of growing to get up to bushes still. And then there's peas here, and I got a little lattice that they grew up in. The deer kind of wiped out the peas. They came by a number of times and just ate the tops off of them and kind of uprooted a bunch of them, and so it really pissed me off. Anyway, there's still some there. And then I've got some squash here that I'm training to grow up this lattice. So I wanted to kind of go vertical with at least some of this squash. And here's some more squash that's doing pretty well. It just hasn't quite started vining. It's not one of the extreme vine types. In fact, I actually don't know what kind of squash this is, but they're healthy as heck, and I am training them to get up there. And there's some cabbage here. It's getting a little attacked by worms, but it's doing okay. These are super hot peppers that are just kind of slow growing. They're either habanero or ghost peppers, I think. More beans, and there's a whole bunch of onions here. Just regular onions, and they're doing pretty well. We've eaten a few, and you can see back here against the wall corn, and this is all not normal corn. It's corn that I got seeds from Peru on, and they're the kind of corn that has just really, really big ears, and they're really big plants. And you know, it's a total experiment as far as what's going to happen with these, but the plants are growing, and they seem reasonably happy growing where they are. They look different. They're really kind of big, bulky plants. Anyway, these are cucumbers. Got a bunch of cucumbers. They're kind of slow growing, but they're doing okay, and they're starting to make little cucumbers. There's about 5 or 6 plants here. And then I got a big bank of squash at this end here. And you can see I'm kind of, I want them to come out this way. So that's what they're doing. I'm training all the vines to come up here, grow up here, and basically fruit out here. And so it's going pretty well. That's about 5 plants right there, and they're all different. There's a Hubbard, there's some called blue curry, and I think there's a turban squash. I don't know, there's a bunch of different ones. I'm a kind of a squash freak, so I like lots of different kinds of squash. So anyway, there's a look at it, and a lot of green. I've also got a couple little satellite operations over here on this hot baked side hill, and this is, I made a little terrace, and these are cucumbers, and I've been just hammering it with water and fertilizer and everything, and they're happy out here in the sun. I got to keep them really well watered, but this is going to produce a lot. There's a ton of little cucumbers coming in on there. And then here's one more terrace that I built for squash. You can see the little bricks, and what I did was I dug a really like about a 2 to 3 foot wide hole that was probably like at least 2 feet deep, and I filled it completely with really good compost that I built, that I made, to make it really rich. And then I planted the 5 little squashes in here, 5 or 6 different kinds, and they've been growing. You gotta, once again, just water the heck out of it, but they like it out here, and very happy. So anyway, that's hope to get a lot of squash out of that. Here's a little bit different look. Very happy squash. And pretty big ass bunch of potatoes and tomatoes. And some volunteer sunflowers that I'm just kind of happy to have, and so I'm watering them and having them be part of it. And there we go. And we got probably at least another 6 or 8 weeks of real growing time, you know, that we can do on this. So some of this stuff is just gonna you know, it just has that much more time to grow and get big. Yeah, look at this tomato plant. Some of the best I've ever had. So they really like the soil, I think.